After the age of 40, something quietly changes inside the body. Not overnight, not dramatically, but gradually, year by year. The systems that once recovered effortlessly begin to require more care and more rhythm. Many people notice that energy becomes less automatic, sleep becomes lighter, stress feels heavier, and the body responds more slowly than it did in youth. This is not failure. It is biology. And the truth is, longevity is not built through extreme diets, punishing workouts, or expensive supplements. Longevity is built through small daily habits that seem almost too ordinary to matter, yet they compound silently over decades. In the longest living populations on Earth, people are not obsessed with health optimization. They are surrounded by routines that naturally support the body: steady movement, simple food, deep connection, and consistent rest. In this video, we will walk through 7 daily longevity habits that quietly add years after 40, not through hype, but through calm consistency. The first habit is one of the most underestimated: protecting your sleep as a foundation of repair. Sleep is not just rest. Sleep is where the body performs its deepest maintenance. During deep sleep, the brain clears metabolic waste, the immune system recalibrates, tissues repair, and hormones stabilize. After 40, the body becomes less forgiving of sleep debt. One short night may affect mood, appetite, focus, and stress response more strongly than it did before. This is because aging shifts the balance of hormones like cortisol and melatonin, making sleep more sensitive to light, noise, late meals, and emotional stimulation. People who age well are not necessarily those who sleep the longest, but those who sleep regularly. Consistency is one of the strongest signals the nervous system understands. A stable bedtime, a predictable wind-down routine, and an environment that feels safe can improve sleep quality over time. This does not require perfection. It requires gentle repetition. Dimming lights in the evening, reducing intense stimulation before bed, keeping the room cool and quiet, and allowing the mind to slow down are small practices that support deeper recovery. Sleep is not a luxury after 40. It is biological medicine, not because it cures disease, but because it allows the body to repair what daily life slowly wears down. The second longevity habit is daily movement, but not the kind most people imagine. Longevity is not built by exhausting yourself once a week or chasing intensity that the body cannot sustain. It is built by moving often, gently, every day. The human body was designed for frequent motion across the day, not long hours of stillness. Walking after meals, light stretching in the evening, standing more, taking stairs, carrying groceries, moving through life naturally. These simple actions support circulation, joint health, metabolic stability, and brain function. Research consistently shows that daily walking is one of the strongest predictors of long life, not because it is dramatic, but because it is sustainable. After 40, the goal is not athletic performance. The goal is keeping the body usable, mobile, and resilient. Even 10 minutes of walking after a meal can support blood sugar regulation and reduce inflammation. Gentle movement also improves sleep, creating a reinforcing cycle. Better movement supports better rest, and better rest supports better recovery. Longevity is built in ordinary motion. When movement becomes part of identity rather than a temporary program, aging becomes slower, steadier, and far more graceful. The third longevity habit is eating in a way that reduces chronic inflammation, not in a way that creates restriction or fear. After 40, the body becomes more sensitive to long-term inflammation, which quietly accelerates aging from the inside. Longevity-focused eating is not about perfection, detoxes, or extreme rules. It is about patterns that support the body consistently. More whole foods, more fiber, more plants, and fewer ultra-processed meals that spike blood sugar and strain metabolism. The longest living cultures do not obsess over calories. They eat simple meals, often smaller portions, and they stop before they feel overly full. This supports metabolic health, cardiovascular stability, and gut balance over decades. Fiber-rich foods such as vegetables, legumes, oats, and berries help regulate the microbiome, which influences immunity, inflammation, and even mood. Longevity is deeply connected to gut health, not because of magic, but because the gut is one of the body's main communication centers. The fourth habit is stress regulation, not stress elimination. Stress is unavoidable, but chronic stress without recovery becomes one of the fastest accelerators of aging. When the body stays in survival mode, cortisol remains elevated, sleep becomes lighter, inflammation rises, and the nervous system becomes less resilient. After 40, this becomes more noticeable because recovery is slower. Longevity requires daily downshifting. This does not require complicated rituals. It can be as simple as slow breathing for a few minutes, a quiet walk, time in nature, warm light in the evening, or gentle routines that signal safety. Calm is not just emotional. Calm is biological. The body repairs best when it feels safe. People who live long lives are not always those with easy lives, but those who have daily practices that return them to balance. The fifth habit is maintaining muscle, not for appearance, but for survival. Muscle is one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging. After 40, muscle naturally declines unless it is protected, and this decline affects far more than strength. Muscle supports insulin sensitivity, balance, posture, bone density, and independence later in life. You do not need extreme bodybuilding. Simple resistance training 2 or 3 times a week, combined with daily walking, can preserve strength for decades. The goal is functional vitality, the ability to carry groceries, climb stairs, rise from the floor, and remain capable. Longevity is not just living longer, it is living able. Strength is insurance. It protects the body from frailty and supports resilience through aging. These habits are not dramatic, but their impact over years is profound. The sixth longevity habit is protecting social connection. Longevity is not only biological, it is relational. Study after study shows that isolation shortens lifespan, while strong relationships extend it. After 40, friendships often shrink, routines become busy, and people become more inward. But the healthiest aging happens in community. Conversation, laughter, shared meals, belonging, these are not luxuries. They are protective factors for the brain, the immune system, and emotional resilience. You do not need a huge social circle, but you do need meaningful connection. A few people who make you feel safe, understood, and grounded can lower stress hormones in a way no supplement can replace. The seventh habit is having a sense of purpose, even a quiet one. In the longest living regions, people often wake up with a reason to move through the day. Not necessarily a grand mission, but a role, a contribution, a reason to remain engaged. Purpose reduces despair, supports cognitive health, and creates structure. Aging well is not about fighting age. It is about building a life that continues to feel meaningful. These 7 habits are not shortcuts. They will not feel dramatic, but they're the habits that quietly add years after 40. Sleep as repair, movement as rhythm, eating as nourishment, stress as something you recover from, muscle as protection, connection as medicine, and purpose as fuel. Longevity is not built in one perfect decision. It is built in ordinary days, repeated gently, year after year. If you start with just one habit this week, your future self will feel the difference. Healthy aging is not about fear. It is about consistency, calm, and care. The longest life is often the quietest one, supported by routines that are simple enough to repeat and meaningful enough to sustain.